In today's episode, I will be telling you everything you need to know about traveling to Tokyo, Japan. Welcome to the Wanderlust Woman Travel Podcast, hosted by Noah
and Vanessa.
We're a married couple who loves traveling all over the world and sharing our experiences with you,
whether it's good or bad.
So let's jump right into today's episode. So before we get into the weeds, here's a fun fact about Tokyo. Tokyo is the greatest city on earth. Well, obviously that's not a fact. It's my opinion and many people's opinions that have visited Tokyo, whether once or countless of times, because it's a city that amazes most people. It's like a bucket list dream for many people, whether you're specifically interested in Japan or just interested in travel, or you just think about those, places that you put on a pedestal, whether it's like Rome, whether it's Paris, whether it's maybe New York City from people from outside of the USA. Tokyo's up there, and I truly think it's my favorite city, and it's like the greatest city on earth. Now, what do I mean by city? Well, what I do know is if I say city one more time, we can make a drinking game out of how many times I say that, and you might not make it another few minutes into the show at this rate. But it's like truly a great metropolis, a city, with being a city of different neighborhoods, and each neighborhood feels like an individual city itself, whether we're talking Shinjuku, Shibuya, Harajuku, Asakusa, Ueno, Odaiba, whether we're talking Ikebukuro, whether we're talking Akihabara. These are all like individual cities to me with completely or overlapping vibes, with some smaller little neighborhoods that are more hipster or that are more counterculture. And there's so many different layers embedded in Tokyo with the culture, whether it's like pop culture, whether, like I said, counterculture. You have many different like genres of music that you can experience in all these different fun little themed bars. It's a city where people with all sorts of niches and interests and hobbies can express themselves and find, like establishments that like sell the kind of like product, or like bars or restaurants that embrace that kind of thing. Also, the infrastructure for travel is like second to none, although it can be a little confusing sometimes. I'll break it down right now before we get too far into it. So Tokyo has an amazing metro system, but it's not just like one metro. The metro is owned by several different companies, and usually those different companies will have different like stations or sections of a station. So this can make it kind of confusing when navigating. The big one is JR. I wish I had it, my Suica card. And that's a little teaser, because Suica cards are the metro cards in Japan. There was a shortage a while ago, but now you can buy them again either at the airport or at like a metro station. You can get them from like one of the little like ticket kiosks, I guess you can call it, or ticket machines. You can buy a Suica card. You can load it up with yen, and you can just tap to like enter a train when leaving a train, buses, all these sorts of things. And Suica is accepted across both companies, like the Tokyo Metro and the JR line. So the JR stations are the main ones, but sometimes if you're transferring from one station to the other, you might need to like get off and then exit a station to like the nearby station, or walk through like an underground like tunnel until you make it to the sister station. So like for Shibuya, for example, you have the Shibuya JR station, and then like other Shibuya lines that aren't the JR line. And the JR line, the famous one, is going to be the Yamanote line, which runs in a circle. It's really incredible the way it's designed, because just the Yamanote line will get you like almost everywhere you need to go or want to go if you're staying in like these little areas or neighborhoods or access points in Tokyo, because it makes a circle, and so many of like the main places you want to visit are going to be there, like Shibuya, like Harajuku, like Shinjuku, like Ueno is on there as well, and so many more going in that little circle around. Tokyo is on there as well, Tokyo Station, going around Tokyo City itself. So hopefully that explains the metro and public transportation. You don't really need to take buses around Tokyo. Taking the metro is the best way to go. It's so fast, it's so convenient, so affordable as well. So that's my advice for how to get around. And like I said, it's second to none, which was what makes Tokyo so great. It's also just has tons of things to do as a tourist. You can go back time and time again, and you can knock off some of the big like bucket list or famous items or sites that you want to see, and then go back and explore another neighborhood, or go back to that main neighborhood and just walk around and explore little small things off the beaten path that maybe no one really talks about. So there's endless exploration in Tokyo, and just an endless amount of like must-sees and must-dos as well. Some I think are overrated. Some are just maybe slightly overrated, but still really cool and just kind of things you should check off your list, which of course I'll get into more later. And I'm just using this phone to make sure I don't ramble past some important things that you should know as well. And then, yeah, just the layers of the city as well when it comes to like the different cultures and things to do in neighborhoods, and you can dive so deep into it. But when should you visit Tokyo? So Tokyo, because it's an incredible city, I think most incredible cities, unless the weather is like disastrous, maybe places like Chicago or New York, it's kind of famous for being crappy too. In the winter, you don't want to visit, but I think in Tokyo, from my understanding, I've never visited during this time of year, but the opposite is true. You don't want to visit in summer. I was there in the winter and it was fine. As long as you have a coat, you have pants, it doesn't get that cold. Maybe the cold, it will like snow rarely. Like having snow in Tokyo is very rare, so it won't get that cold. But summer can be oppressively hot from what I hear. Very hot, very humid. And as being a big city where you might be packed into some of those like metro trains, if you're traveling during like rush hour or you take the Yamanote line during like working hours, it might not be a fun experience in the brutal, muggy, hot, humid summers in Tokyo and in Japan in general. So I would recommend not to visit in summer. I think spring is amazing. Obviously, the holy grail of visiting Japan is going to be cherry blossom season, and you should definitely do it. But it's going to be crazy busy, especially in Tokyo, because Tokyo is going to be the busiest city, just with Japanese people in general. So you're going to have all these foreign tourists as well, many of whom maybe not like might not be obeying the rules, or might be more disruptive, or will be flocking and congregating to those main tourist attractions that undoubtedly you'll want to visit yourself. There's no shame in that, They're famous, they're monumental. So it'll be beautiful, it'll be magical. But if you're visiting cherry blossom season, just know that's going to be the trade-off. So you could also visit maybe like a little bit after. I would say maybe like end of or mid-April to like end of May would be really nice as well. It's going to be warmer. Still crowds, but not anything close to the cherry blossom season for that reason. And I think most people would probably say fall. It's just an amazing time to visit as well, because you still have the trees, you have some fall foliage. During winter is really nice as well, but the gardens will look a little bit more like dead, and things might seem more like dreary, not as bright, which you'll still see for the city lights. But as far as like the nature and the, I don't know, like the parks and stuff that you want to visit in Tokyo, they won't be as pretty in the winter for that obvious reason. So my vote would be cherry blossom season, just to do it once. But if you've done it once and you don't want to experience the crowds or anything to that extent, maybe more late April to late May, or maybe like October, November, those kinds of months, or maybe end of September. But here September can be very hot as well. So anyway, next thing, how much time should you spend in Tokyo? You're planning a trip to Japan, and I'm going to give you the best answer possible, depending on your different situations. No judgment or take all this for at word value or face value, I guess. So if this is like your ultimate Japan trip, and because it's a far flight, if you don't like flying that far, and like Tokyo is just a part of other places that you want to visit, and you have like let's say you have 2 weeks or a week and a half or something, bare minimum, I truly mean this, even if you're not like a city person, bare minimum, you need 3 full days in Tokyo. And I even hate saying that. And I don't care if you're not a city person. If you're visiting Tokyo at all, if you don't really care about cities, flying to Tokyo, just leave. Maybe that sounds harsh, but to do Tokyo any sort of justice, you need 3 full days, minimum. And I would think like, I could do a whole itinerary in Tokyo, but I would say like a full day for some of the main like modern neighborhoods or like pop culture-y neighborhoods. So I would think like Shibuya and Shinjuku, you could like kind of put in a day together. Harajuku, you could squeeze in there, but that's so much. I really don't like that. One day for the traditional side of Tokyo, maybe like Asakusa. And then one day for going a little bit off the beaten path for Tokyo. Some of the like quieter neighborhoods, more hipstery or fun or local to a certain extent, but still like really cool, trendy, like fun city things to do and stuff. So that's the minimum. And that would be like, if you're like, oh, I really want to do the traditional stuff. I really want to go to Osaka, and I also want to go to Kyoto and stuff like that. So realistically, I think 4 to 5 days in Tokyo is fine. But what I truly recommend, let's say you're going to go to Japan for like a week to 2 weeks, let's say like a 10-day trip or something. You might think I'm crazy. And you think you'll go to Japan again in the future. Separate those two areas, because the main tourist route that many people love to do is Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. They're the three most famous cities or places in Japan. Well, Kyoto's a city. People don't think of it as, but it is a big city. But Kyoto and Osaka are really close nearby. And you can kind of make this whole separate trip, which I totally recommend. That's what I did for my wife. Excuse me. When we first visited Japan together, I knew I wanted to spend a lot of time in Tokyo because I love it. I studied abroad there for 4 months. I wanted to show her everything. I didn't want to give her just a little slice of it. I wanted to go deep with my wife. Well, as far as traveling, that sounds kind of wrong. But anyway, so what we did is we did a whole trip for just Kansai. And for Kansai, that's the region with Osaka and Kyoto. And then we also visited Nara, which is a very famous tourist attraction as well. Beautiful city. I never visited. It's famous for the deer and has lots of the traditional culture as well. And there's more stuff you can do in that area as well. But for Tokyo, I would recommend sectioning off this whole separate trip for Tokyo and some day trips. Because, then you can actually dive deeper into the neighborhoods. You can have some chill days to kind of like step away from the craziness, but still enjoy the things around you in the neighborhoods that you want to visit and spend time in. And there's, I think, at least 2 different day trips that I highly recommend. Potentially more, but there's one that I think is quintessential, especially if you're just visiting like Tokyo area. So anyway, 3 to 4 days minimum. I think, and then ideally maybe like a good week or so is good, because even the week, you will not you'll experience Tokyo, but it won't be a place that's like, okay, I visited Tokyo, I don't need to go back. There's so much more to see in Tokyo. It's crazy. It's so deep. I think me and my wife, I counted, and we've been to Tokyo maybe like a total of, between us, or us traveling there together, maybe like 12 days, and we've visited like 19 neighborhoods. And that's not including like others that I visited by myself when I was studying abroad there. And these aren't like, oh, let's just go to this place just because. No, these are places that are like juicy. There's cool things to do there. There's a unique vibe. They're fun. It's not just like, let me just go to this random station and just see what's up. No, these are really cool places that I think a lot of people would have great interest in seeing. And tourists do know about them. It's not like they're all hidden gems. They're just, some are less busy than others in that way. So anyway, that's how much time, and that's why I would recommend splitting up the trip between those 2 different areas for that reason. So now let's talk about where you should stay. Now, if this is your first time in Tokyo, which there's a good chance it is, or maybe you're revisiting and you're like, what else can I learn about Tokyo before going? I got you either way. I totally got you. So for first timers, it truly comes down to, I think, 4 different places I recommend you staying. Maybe 5, but I think 4 is the best. So I would recommend totally Shinjuku. Shinjuku for first timers. Yeah, I think it's the best because it's so dense with things to do. So you don't even have to do it all in one day. You can break it up as you go. Shinjuku is very well connected to both airports. You can directly take the Narita Express from Narita Airport. Takes about an hour or so, I think. And it's a really comfortable train. There's Wi-Fi. There's good leg space. You won't be taking public transportation. You'll be standing with your luggage in a backpack. It's about $20 or so, I think. And it's very well worth it for the comfort, the peace of mind, and the ease of access. Takes you right to Shinjuku Station. And then you can exit and find your accommodation. It's also very well connected to Haneda Airport, because from Haneda, Shinjuku Station, it connects to Shinagawa Station, and from Shinagawa there's a direct line, I think it's called the Keikyu line, that takes you to Haneda. Unfortunately, it'll be public transportation, because I think it's the Yamanote line. I think it's the Yamanote line that connects to Shinagawa. So it is, yeah. So it might be a little annoying and crowded, and people might hate you if you're traveling with a bunch of luggage. Don't do it. I'm just going to say that. It'll be a pain in the butt. If you have a suitcase and a backpack, stack them, hold them up against you so you're not taking a bunch of space, especially if it's during the busy hours. But it's closer than Narita, but still really well connected to the Haneda line. So that's why I say Shinjuku. The other option, of course, is Shibuya for all the same reasons. It has the same connections because it's also on the Yamanote line. You could take a direct Narita Express train from Narita Airport. And Shibuya, it doesn't have as many sites, but it's a place that a lot of people will want to stay. It's well connected on the Yamanote line. And I like the west side of Tokyo. I think more when it comes to the touristy sort of things. So, and yeah, it's still close to Shinjuku and like Harajuku, which is another amazing neighborhood that you should definitely visit while being in Tokyo as a first timer, or just in general. I love Harajuku and like some of the areas more tucked in the back, away from like the main craziness. Because just in these three neighborhoods that are all really close together and well connected on trains, that is Shinjuku, Shibuya, the two I recommend you staying, and Harajuku. You have like the Shibuya crossing, which is famous. You have Meiji Shrine, which is incredible. You have Yogi Park. You have Shinjuku Park in Shinjuku, which those are two incredible parks. Shinjuku is more like a garden, which is beautiful. You have Takeshita Dori, which is a main like street, very crazy, very busy, in Harajuku, right across from Meiji Jingu Mai. Nai is the stop actually. Meiji Jingu Shrine. Which is very fun and touristy. It's crazy. The fashion, the counterculture is really cool. Great for shopping and little things like that. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I just can't wait to tell you all the juicy stuff about Tokyo. And in Shinjuku, of course, you have Golden Gai, which is very famous little network of bars and this little alleys. Omoide Yokocho by the station. You have the Godzilla head and just so many cool neon city lights at night between Shibuya and Shinjuku. They're like, wow, I'm in Tokyo. I'm in Japan. I'm in this crazy, beautiful, wonderful place, and I can't believe I'm here. And you can see it every night, maybe when you're walking around, maybe for karaoke at night, maybe you're going to some bars, maybe you're going to the convenience store to get a quick bite to eat, maybe you're going to like a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant. It's just, these places are like the, wow, I'm in Tokyo. The other neighborhoods are really beautiful as well, but these ones smack you in the face, and I do love that about them. Although I don't like being smacked in the face in real life. But anyway, so for that reason, I think Shibuya and Shinjuku are great. The other areas, I highly recommend you stay as a tourist. The first two that come to mind. One is Ueno. Ueno is also connected on the Yamanote line. So that little circular line we're talking about, it's directly connected to Shibuya and Shinjuku. And Ueno is really cool as well. The station is very big. It's connected to the bullet train, which is really convenient as well. If you don't want to take my advice and you want to travel to other parts of Japan outside of Tokyo for your trip, by all means do so. You'll have an amazing time. But so that's really convenient as well. In Ueno, it's super well connected to Narita Airport, even better than the other neighborhoods, because there's a train line called the Keisei Skyliner that goes from Narita Airport to Ueno Station. And what is really nice is it's cheaper than the Narita Express, and it's shorter. It's only like 40 minutes. And if you look at a map, Narita Airport, it's actually pretty far away. So it's it's the same thing. There's lots of legroom. You can sit down, you have your assigned seat. You can put your luggage above you. There's Wi-Fi. It's very relaxing. And I prefer it over Narita Express, honestly. So it's great for connection, and then it's great for getting a connection to the airport and connection to the rest of the city. In Ueno, it's famous for Ueno Park as well, which is a really beautiful park. It's also traditional culture and like shrines and stuff as well. There's some ponds. And also right next to Ueno Station is the famous Ame Yokocho, which is means I think the nickname is for ame, meaning like candy, and Yokocho is like alley. But I don't know if there's a lot of candy. There's probably some, but lots of people, lots of vendors, lots of places to shop, eat, drink, that sort of thing. And it's a cool retro feel. So Ueno is really cool, but a very different vibe than Shinjuku and Shibuya, where Ueno is a little bit more traditional. In this part of Tokyo, the more like eastern part is more traditional as well. So then the fourth place I would recommend would be Nippori. Nippori, I actually just stayed and visited for the first time only like a couple weeks ago at this point. Well, probably less, but by the time the podcast comes out, maybe a couple weeks ago. It's just 1 or 2 stations away from Ueno. Same thing applies. It's well connected to Narita Airport with the Keisei Skyliner. It's more quiet than Ueno. There's to the east or northeast of the station, there's Nippori Fabric Town, which is really cool, good for like textiles and stuff. And southwest is an area called Yanaka, and there's a street called Yanaka Ginza, which is very traditional. Lots of street food, like an old traditional Tokyo feel, which is really unique and cool as well. Nippori, I think, is cool, but maybe a little bit more for the seasoned Tokyo travelers or people ready to do like the next things on the list compared to these other quintessential neighborhoods that I've already glanced over, but we'll cover in more detail. But it's still really well connected and quiet. So I think Nippori is really good as well. And it's also a couple stations away from Ueno for the Shinkansen as well. So it's really convenient. And I think it's a little bit cheaper as well, from my understanding. So anyway, that's where you should stay. You can stay in other places too, but for my money, those are great. And for more of the seasoned travelers, if you still want the convenience, be like, oh, not Shinjuku, not Shibuya, too many tourists, too crazy, too loud, whatever. Just pick, what people recommend you do is just pick somewhere along the Yamanote line, because that thing will get you wherever you need to go pretty much. And maybe you can stay in some random places, like a station or two away from the main areas you want to check out, and then you can have your own adventure. You can be in a quieter area. Maybe you can find some places off the beaten path. Maybe the prices will be better. It's not that difficult to travel with luggage, because maybe you go to like Ueno Station and just hop on the Yamanote line for like 2 stops and then get off, so it won't be like, that much of a pain to do so. So those are my recommendations for traveling or where to stay in Tokyo. I recently also tried staying near Tokyo Station, which I would not recommend. It is well connected with the Narita Express, and obviously the bullet train. Well, not obviously, but the bullet train operates from Tokyo Station as well. But there's not that many accommodation options that are worthwhile near the station, so you might have to walk a long way with your luggage, which is not ideal. So don't really recommend Tokyo Station for staying, but it's definitely cool to visit, I think. Anyway, let's continue. So that's where you should stay. I do think that talking about those different areas, if it's going to be your first time, where should you spend your time? What areas should you check out? And then I'll get into maybe more specific like bucket list activities or must-dos. So I think Shinjuku is a must. Shibuya is a must. Although they are very similar but very different, because Shinjuku, I think, is truly the heart of Tokyo. It's the city of cities within Tokyo, because you have things like the Godzilla head. You have so many like maybe not neon, but bright lights and screens. It's very visually stimulating in the best way. There's great shopping. You have the beautiful garden. You have Shinjuku Gyoen, that is the garden. You have Golden Gai, which I mentioned earlier. You have Omoide Yokucho, which is a very similar thing, but right next to the station. It's great for like drinking and eating. And it's a small little like Yokucho or alley with these tiny little bars all packed together. It's very fun, very touristy, but very fun as well. It has Kabukicho, which is the red light district, which be a little bit careful while exploring. Don't just go into any bar. Don't go into places that people are trying to usher you into. That's a red flag. That might be sketchy, to be honest. And it's really nice and convenient too, Shinjuku. So you must go to Shinjuku. Shibuya, on the other hand, I have like an up and down relationship with, meaning I either like it or love it. I never hated Shibuya. Sometimes I thought it was slightly overrated, because the Shibuya crossing, it's like an iconic thing to do. It might be slightly underwhelming because it's maybe not as big as people think, but there are a ton of people that cross from all these different directions, and you're surrounded by these towering skyscrapers around you with like different like billboards and visuals and cool stuff going on, especially at night, of course. And it's right next to Hachiko's statue, which Hachiko is like a little dog, very famous, has a really sad story, because he used to come to the station every day to meet up with his owner, who was a teacher, but one day his owner died and never came back, so Hachiko was waiting for him, and then he returned and he'd come back every day. At the time, the owner used to come back, but the owner never returned. So people made a statue for Hachiko in honor of his loyalty. It's a very sad story. But as far as things to do, Shibuya has like good shopping as well. It has like Shinjuku is really good for shopping, so I mean Shibuya is really good as well. It has good department stores like Shibuya 109, I think it's called. There's the Parco building, which is great. It has a really nice basement area with a bunch of different food vendors. Some are really good for vegans as well, which if you're a vegan traveler like me, definitely need to check it out. It has like your nerdy stores, like your Nintendo store. It has your like Pokemon store there, I believe, Pokemon Center. It has a Shonen Jump store as well. It's crazy busy, but these are like 3 of my favorite parts about Japanese pop culture, so you can definitely visit and check out as well. In Shibuya, it also has cool little gimmicky fun stores too. In my experience, Shinjuku's more like big department stores, main Japanese brands, but Shibuya has these fun little quirky stores you can pop into. A really cool one is Loft. Not that it's quirky, but has fun things that you can like buy as well, with many different little vendors inside. Just very stylish, and I really enjoy Loft in Shibuya. It also has Tower Records, which is a great record store, and I love Japanese popular music. And it has some international music as well. There's all these different little stations with music set up, and you can like choose a track and put on the headphones and listen to it. It's a good way for me that I find out new music to listen to as well. So I love this part of Shibuya as well. So I love Shibuya, and it's a place that you must visit. And people will always ask, did you go to the Shibuya crossing? And you could say, yes, you did, but maybe you can go a little bit further off the beaten path, or dive deeper into Japanese culture with the shopping and stuff too. I also mentioned Harajuku and kind of glossed over it. Harajuku, I love Harajuku as well. Some people hate it. I love it. I see why people hate it. The reason to hate it is going to be it's very popular with tourists. And it's not maybe built the same way that the other cities are. The biggest culprit is Takeshita Dori, I talked about earlier, because it's one small street and it is so crazy busy. I don't think I've ever been to it, besides at night on like a weekday when I was walking around when I was studying abroad. I'm like, this is kind of fun to walk around. I didn't even realize it was that super famous alley that it is or street that it is today. But just walk down it, escape the crowds in various stores along the way. And once you go to the back, pop off to the side, I think going left. If you're heading from the station, go left and you'll be in this cool area called, I think it's called Cat Street. There's so many different like cat streets or cat alleys I've been to in Japan. I think it's called Cat Street. And it's quiet. It's like rolling. It's a little bit more hilly and it's really fun. There's these cute little boutique stores and shops and cafes and it's very fun and very quiet. And this was my wife's, one of her favorite places. I took her and walked around with her in Tokyo, our first visit. So definitely check that out. It's really cool and fun. And by the station, there's Meiji Shrine, which Meiji is a very famous historical figure in Japanese culture, and they have a shrine dedicated to him. It has this massive wooden torii gate that you walk through, and it takes you into this forested area of Tokyo, which is really nice. It's a really nice contrast from all of like the skyscrapers and concrete and signs and the really beautiful modern city part. It's a nice escape, and it's a cool area to walk around with some nice buildings as well. You can also go on this little back walking trail that like reconnects you, I think close to Yoyogi Park, which is kind of sandwiched between Shibuya and Harajuku. In Yoyogi Park, it's really fun. There's lots of cool people watching you can do, lots of nice green space, and it's more of that good city escape if you want more greenery around you. So that's why I like Harajuku. I think the shopping is really cool. The businesses are fun, and it's got a cool mixture of like nature, culture, and popular culture as well. So, and by culture I mean traditional culture. So Harajuku, it's like a must as well. There's also a really good ramen shop if you're vegan called Vegan Bistro Jangara. My favorite ramen in all of Tokyo, even from before I was vegan as well. So, take that with a grain of salt if you think I'm biased, but it's true. It's ridiculously good. So those three, they're all kind of, if you look at the Yamanote line, they're like stacked up on top of each other. Shinjuku, Harajuku, Shibuya. And you can visit them in I'd recommend 2 days, but you could do like a day if you really wanted to. But 2 days is great for those two different neighborhoods. And they're must-sees. Now, the other neighborhoods, the main hitters, I think you should definitely check out. 100%. We're going to go east. You're going to definitely want to go to Asakusa. Asakusa is just as famous as visually as Shinjuku and Shibuya are, but more for the traditional side of things. Very different vibe. They're still big buildings, but it's not as neon-y or digital screens, more traditional. And the cool little hearts of Asakusa that you must check out are going to be just overall, it's Sensoji Temple. Sensoji Temple is the Buddhist temple here. It's very famous. It has this long shopping street leading up to it called Nakamise Dori, which is great for traditional souvenirs, street food, little crafts. Really nice. It's definitely busy, but I think there's cool things you can buy and eat here. And it's really fun because it starts at the Kaminamaron, I think it's called, meaning like Thunder Gate or Thunder Bell or something. I can't remember the exact name right now, but it's this massive red bell hanging down. You walk right by it, under it, then it takes you to Nakamise Dori. You go down. Sorry guys, I wish I had some water. My throat's getting a little scratchy. And then you walk down it, and it takes you all the way to Sensoji Temple, which is beautiful. Maybe you could argue the crowds take away some of the pureness of the experience, but I still think it's incredible. It's incredibly beautiful, and there's a whole structure and kind of not campus, but temple grounds around you, which you can walk around and see pagodas, little other structures, a nice little bridge with some koi fish in it. It's beautiful. It's really incredible. I personally still think it's maybe a little bit more profound when you go to a temple in Kyoto or a small or more rural area in Japan and you have all to yourself, although Kyoto is very busy. But I mean, you see these beautiful temples kind of all by yourself, and you can kind of feel a special feeling, a spiritual feeling maybe. You're not going to feel that unless you get a quiet moment maybe at Sensoji, but it's famous and it's definitely worth visiting. And there's lots of shops around too, places that sell matcha, places that sell more street food. And it's just a really fun, cool area that's a really big contrast to those other neighborhoods I talked about, like Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Harajuku. So, and if you keep on going a little bit further, you'll eventually reach the Sumida River. And by further, I mean like more east. You'll reach the Sumida River. And the Sumida River, it's really nice. You can like walk up and along it. It's beautiful during cherry blossom season. And you can see Skytree just across the river as well, which is for me, my favorite skyscraper in Tokyo. Tokyo Tower is very famous as well, but to me, it feels too similar in structure to the Eiffel Tower to be like what's uniquely Japanese about it. So Skytree, it's the tallest skyscraper. And I think it's beautiful and very modern, but still feels a little like retro, which I still love. So yeah, Asakusa, you need to visit as well. And now my only other, I think like heavy hitter that I think you definitely need to visit, I'm thinking in my head, this isn't even like a heavy hitter. I think it's still a little bit less popular than those four, is going to be Odaiba. Odaiba, it was like I just love Japan. It's like it's an artificial island. And it's built like in Tokyo Bay, more south of like Odaiba, so like the southeast kind of part of Tokyo. And it's just such a unique thing. So many parts of Japan, like they're definitely, people say that Tokyo is like super futuristic. And maybe in some ways it kind of is, maybe like when it comes to efficiency. But when it comes to like aesthetic, it's like what you thought futuristic would be in those old like 70s, 80s movies, or like in the 90s or something. And it still very much has that feeling. And Odaiba does as well. And what Odaiba also has is it has like a nice little like artificial beach in view of the city. So it's a great place to actually go for sunset. And you can see the Rainbow Bridge start to light up, which connects Odaiba to like the rest of Tokyo, I guess. And it's a really nice place to just walk around at night. It's quiet. They have, what's it called? Diver City. I think it's like the main shopping mall here. And it has some cool little, I think amusement parks that you can go to as well. And good shopping as well. I think they used to have Asimo the robot, which was like a really futuristic invention back in the day, but I don't think it's in commission anymore. There's a replica of the Statue of Liberty, which you can see, which is kind of funny. And even more so of statues, they have a Gundam statue, which is the Unicorn Gundam, which lights up and they do a whole different show for it. It's massive. It's really cool. That's another like, wow, I'm in Japan moment, and very cool, good for photos. And Odaiba, it just feels magical to me. Every time I visit, I just feel like I see all of Tokyo like right in front of me. And it feels like you're on an island. It feels like I'm an island right at the edge of the city. And you just take a little breath away. You can feel the quietness. You can see the lights, hear the sound of the water, and just feel like, wow, I can't believe I'm in the city. I can't believe I'm in Japan. I can't believe I'm visiting Tokyo. And maybe it's a good place. I think it's a good place to go towards the end of your trip. Maybe if you want to reflect on things a little bit more. There used to be a really nice onsen. Sadly, that closed. That I went to, and it's just really nice to like relax to and part of that experience. But definitely visit Odaiba. I love it. Oh, I want to go back already. Anyway, so Odaiba, I think everyone should visit too for that reason. And it's a really nice contrast to these other parts of Tokyo. So those are the main areas that everyone should visit, no matter the trip. I also think, and I was alluding to this earlier when I was saying you should spend 3 days minimum in Tokyo. You need to go a little bit away from the super mainstream neighborhoods, of course, I think. And I'm like, am I forgetting any? There's others, but the other mainstream neighborhoods I wouldn't necessarily say are must visits. Ueno, it's pretty close, but I wouldn't say it's a must visit for that reason. So the other neighborhoods I think are just cool and offer different like layers to Tokyo. One that a lot of people like is Shimokitazawa. I like it. I'm not obsessed about it, I guess the same way other people might be. It's more like vintage, thrifty, but I think the prices here are a lot more like expensive than like the thrift stores I like to go to. So I think more vintage. But if you have like that kind of sense of style, it's more hipstery. There's nice cafes. There's also a nice like bar scene, but I think more like hipster kind of bars at night and stuff. I think it's definitely worth checking out for sure. Some other neighborhoods that I think you should definitely visit is one that I visited recently that I really love. And I'd like to go back like ASAP. Is Kichijoji. Kichijoji, it's a little bit west of Shinjuku. And I think it's the neighborhood when they poll the Japanese people, which neighborhood would you rather live in Tokyo? Kichijoji was the most selected option. And I see why. It kind of is like a little mishmash of my favorite parts of Tokyo. Because they have what's called a Shotengai, which they have the Shotengai in Asakusa as well. They are shopping streets with a roof overhead. It's like a shopping arcade with a roof overhead. To me, it's a very like uniquely Japanese thing. They have them in many cities across Japan, like Osaka, like Kyoto, like even Matsuyama, which I visited recently. Good for eating, good for shopping, good for like little cafes and stuff like that too. They have one in Kichijoji as well. So to me, that feels like an Asakusa part of the neighborhood. They also have like just southwest of the station, more of like a city area with more nightlife and more like the cool digital signs and stuff. Some good like bars and restaurants, which feels like more akin to some neighborhoods. And like Ikebukuro, that's another like major neighborhood, but I wouldn't say it like makes the top of the list for the major ones. Ikebukuro is cool, but I think like Shibuya and Shinjuku and Harajuku kind of do those things better. But anyways, it feels like Ikebukuro a little bit as far as like the aesthetic, or like Shinjuku for that matter. This area of Kichijoji on the other side of the station. So that's really cool as well. It also has a cool little like hipster scene. I think like really nice cafes and really good coffee. Oh God, I got coffee at this place here and it was absolutely delicious. I'm a coffee snob and I think Tokyo has like some of the best coffee in the world. Maybe because they pay more for the beans, or the baristas are very serious about their craft. And in this little area are getting closer to the park. It feels more like Harajuku, like the Cat Street, and some other neighborhoods I'll talk about in a little bit, where it's more like little hole in the wall, quirky little shops selling fun things, and also like the little vintage stores they have too, which makes you think of Shimokitazawa. So it really has all that in one, and also has a really nice garden and park as well. I think it's called Enoshima, something like that, Enoshima Park, which looks beautiful during cherry blossom season. There's a nice pond, there's a nice little shrine embedded in it as well, and it actually connects, if you keep on walking, to the Studio Ghibli Museum, which that's like, for some people, a must-see and must-do attraction in Tokyo if you love the Ghibli movies, which I certainly do myself. I'm a huge lover of the Ghibli movies, so Kichijoji is awesome. I love Kichijoji. It's really cool. Some other neighborhoods that are awesome, really cool, and it's kind of like this little collection I'll give you, but they're three distinct, but they kind of blend together to a certain amount. They're technically, I think, a part of Shibuya city, but they're more south, yeah. It's going to be Daikanyama, it's going to be Ebisu, which Ebisu has its own separate station on the Yamanote line, but Daikanyama is kind of between Ebisu and Shibuya. This is more of like the little small hole in the wall. It's more like rolly little hills and fun, quirky little shops, great cafes and restaurants, quiet, maybe more local as well. I love this part of Tokyo so much. And if you go southwest of that, you're going to be in an area called Meguro Station, which Nakameguro is like the actual neighborhood. And the same thing applies here. It's beautiful, has the Meguro River, which is famous for cherry blossom season, having the cherry blossoms line up and down the river. But even so, it's just fun. Again, same thing applies. Hole in the walls, cafes, very vibey, very fun. People compare it, I think, to like Brooklyn or something in New York. So this whole area, I think you could dedicate like a whole day doing those, like Daikanyama, Ebisu, Nakameguro, and maybe end the night in Shibuya or something, and make a whole day out of that. So those are neighborhoods you should definitely dive into that aren't like the super famous ones, but I think are like some of the best parts of what Tokyo has to offer for that reason. Anyway, what an incredible city. And I'm just making sure I don't miss anything important. So anyway, let's talk about more about the must-dos, because I've told you about the neighborhoods. What are like the must-do like sites specifically, or activities? So I think one, for every city I go to, but Tokyo is not the exception, I think you need to visit a park, because they're a great way to escape the metropolis, the cement jungleness, the skyscrapers, and cities usually do a really good job of making good parks. And the ones I recommend, you probably would guess, would be Shinjuku Gyoen, the beautiful garden, Ueno Park in Ueno, Yoyogi Park in Harajuku Shibuya area, and then of course Enoshima Park, I think it's called Inokashira, one of the two, in Kichijoji. There's more. Those are my favorite parks I visited from the top of my head. They're all beautiful and will give you that quintessential Tokyo park experience. The whole Asakusa traditional area, I said explore Asakusa, but visit those places I told you about, like Nakamise Dori, Sensoji, and Sumida River Park. And of course, get a view of the city, because Tokyo is massive, and you can you can get an even better appreciation when you see it from above. And I think the best observation tower arguably, all things included, is the Tokyo Metropolitan Building in Shinjuku, because it's free. So if it's free, it's for me. But no, it's I think it's the 48th floor you get a view. And because it's a cool building, but you're not, the thing about Tokyo, and the thing about like major cities and capital cities as well, is you don't want to get a view typically from the famous building, because part of what makes that skyline and view incredible is that famous building. So the great thing about going to Tokyo Metropolitan Building is you can still see Skytree, you can still see Tokyo Tower, you can still see all the neighborhoods around you. Maybe you can see Roppongi Hills. Excuse me, Roppongi is another famous neighborhood as well, but it's more famous for the nightlife. And I think if you're going to do nightlife, I'll tell you about where to go for that in a second. Anyway, so I think Tokyo Metropolitan Building is the best when it comes to that metric. Also, other buildings were going to be Shibuya Sky. I've never visited. It's kind of a little bit super trendy at the moment, so you have to reserve your tickets far ahead of time, and people want to go there for sunset, and maybe I'm just not that good at planning. I've never done it, but it doesn't seem like it's a major building in the sky or building in the skyline. And Shibuya seems like a good vantage point of the city as well, and it seems like a cool experience. I'm not gonna lie, so I'd still recommend it from what I've seen, even though it's very popular. I've also heard that Mori Tower is a really good place to get a view. I think it's in Roppongi. So yeah, those would be my like three off the top of my head. But when in doubt, Tokyo Metropolitan Building. You don't need a reservation. It's free. And it's a great view. And you can see Fuji on a clear day, which is really cool as well. So anyway, that's it for getting a view. Now, I was hinting towards it earlier, but next is nightlife. I think a city like Tokyo truly has, and just Japan in general, has a really unique nightlife experience, or experiences, that I think you need to take advantage of. And I don't care if you're not a drinker. You can still go out and enjoy Tokyo at night without like bars and getting drunk. So I'll kind of go over all my different ways I recommend you do that as someone that's gone out in Tokyo many times. So first is arcades. Now you might be like, really, arcades? Yes, arcades. They're fun. They're really fun. And I think Japan arcades are awesome. They have so many different fun games, like little rhythm games you play with the drums, or that you can play Mario Kart, which who doesn't love Mario Kart? Anyone that likes any video game to any degree, you love Mario Kart. Super fun to play with a friend too. They also have like little like punching games and stuff, and they have little photo booths where you can take fun photos with your friend. It'll be like a cool little souvenir. And there's plenty more games you can play, but those are like some of the main ones. And there's fun arcades and stuff all over Tokyo that you have to enjoy. Next is karaoke. And karaoke doesn't have to be a nightlife thing. You have to do arcades, but if you just want to go out at night and do fun things and have a good time. I do these whether I'm sober or drunk, to be honest. Whether I'm drinking or not, I will go out to an arcade. It'll be a fun part of the night. It's just like, you just have these little like fun little mishmashes of experiences, which makes Japan and Tokyo in particular so magical. But karaoke, as you probably know, is different in Japan and, well, Asian countries in general, because, well, like South Korea and stuff too, because it's private room typically. So you can go to these little karaoke establishments. You can pay for like 30 minutes, an hour, or extend if you want. Then you can have a private room for you and your friend. You select songs, and normally you have to like order a drink or something, but you can just have the time of your life and not feel judged, and just really go for it, which I think is really fun to do, whether you're, by yourself, with a friend, drunk or sober. So during the day or at night, but it's a really fun thing to do at night. Also are izakayas. And izakayas are like Japanese style bars and pubs. I've referred to them a few times as well. I like many different izakayas. I like the ones where maybe you're a little bit more mingly with people around you, like the small little hole in the wall ones. There are some that are bigger where they kind of like segment and section off people into different like little cubbies, which is fun if you have a big group, I think. But I like the ones with like little small tables, and maybe you're together and like you can like easily start up a conversation with the people next to you. And these are great places for all you can drink if you want to do like the Nomi Hodai, it's called, where the prices are normally pretty good. It's like $10 for like an hour or something, and that's just like a diabolical opportunity for many Westerners to get their money's worth. But you don't even have to go to drink. You can get like some soft drinks. You can get some Japanese like bar food or bar snacks, and just soak up this unique atmosphere, like kind of being all close together, especially in those areas like Omoide Yokocho or Golden Gai or some of the other yokochos or little nightlife districts in Tokyo. There's some good ones in Shibuya and Ebisu, I believe, as well, that are really fun. Anyway, so izakaya is really fun. Clubbing is fun in Tokyo. It's been a while since I've done it, but they're open very late. There's wide varieties of music, whether it's like, Japanese popular music, whether it's like EDM, rap. The neighborhoods you're going to really want to go to, I think the two best ones would be Shibuya and Roppongi. Shinjuku is pretty good. I think maybe later at night, and there's like some popular clubs there now, but I think Shibuya is like the mecca for nightlife, personally, from my own experience, although it's been a long time. And then, like the yokochos and tiny little alleys, which I talked about, which have the izakayas. And when I was talking about arcades, a really cool arcade is Round One. I believe it's in Tokyo. I forget what neighborhood. I went to one in Osaka, but it's like a multi-floor, multi-purpose like entertainment center where they have karaoke on one floor, they have arcades on another floor, and a lot of other floors are built for like sporting activities, like soccer, like volleyball, and man, I could just spend that just sounds like my perfect place in the world. So visit them. And when we're talking about like sporting activities, Shinjuku has a batting center. And I think other parts of Tokyo do as well. But the Shinjuku batting center, it's in Kabukicho. It's really fun. It's great to go on like a date or just by yourself or with a friend. It has some 100 yen coins for you, with you. And that's like 300 yen for like one round of 25 balls. Super fun. And it's just do these fun activities. It's so much fun in Japan. So I think experiencing the nightlife is important. The iconic neighborhoods and the low-key neighborhoods are very important as well. And of course, like during the day, themed bars and cafes. This is a massive part of Japanese culture. And depending on what your interests are, you can, I think bars, I would include bars, restaurants, cafes, the different themes are very fun. If you're into Japanese popular culture, there's like a Pokemon cafe, I believe. There's different like anime and manga and stuff. There's like a ninja cafe. There's maid cafes. Just all these kind of fun little quirky, zany. Maybe it's a little bit gimmicky, but I think it's a very fun and uniquely Japanese thing to experience. I wouldn't recommend going to an animal cafe unless you do some research to figure out if they're ethically treated. Because I can imagine a lot of I've been to an owl cafe once a long time ago, and they seem like sedated and they're like chained to their posts, which I absolutely hated. Even though they're beautiful creatures, I just felt so terrible and guilty. Even though they're playing Princess Mononoke in the cafe, it made me feel a little happier, but I just felt like a piece of crap being there. So be careful or mindful of those animal cafes for that reason. But definitely visit them. Okay, so that's Tokyo. It feels like I've been talking for so long and I've said so little. I hope I've actually given you good information. Because I could talk about Tokyo for hours, but Tokyo has so many amazing things, but also has great day trips as well. And I love Tokyo. I love it so much, but it's not necessarily my favorite place to visit in Japan anymore. I love going a little bit more off the beaten path, diving more into the traditional culture, or the places where the scenery and the nature meets like the temples and shrines, and you can still meet friendly people in Tokyo, but it's like Tokyo's New York. It's really massive. A lot of people there are probably overstimulated and tired of people. So maybe if you go a little bit off the beaten path, you can meet more friendly people or people that will just like slow down and just be at a slower pace of life, and maybe you want to chat with you more. Although I think bars and like nightlife is a good place to meet people in Tokyo. But anyway, let's talk about the day trips now. How should I start this? Okay, I'll start from closest to furthest maybe. Kawagoe is located in Saitama Prefecture, which is a different prefecture, but it's only about an hour away, just outside the city limit of Tokyo. And it's more traditional. They have like a candy street as well, which I remember visiting, which is very fun. Lots of traditional Japanese candies. Really fun to walk around the traditional area, see some temples, shrines, and it takes you back to an older part of Japan, just only an hour away from Tokyo. So it's cool. An hour and a half away, I'll go to two different places. So one place that is an hour to an hour and a half away is Kamakura / Enoshima. They're two different places, but they're right next to each other, so I'll combine them. And this, to me, is the must-do. This is the you must visit as a day trip from Tokyo, because Kamakura, it used to be a capital of Japan, similar to Kyoto. Kyoto was the old capital of Japan, so it has so much beautiful traditional culture. It has a massive Buddha, Daibutsu, Daibutsu, like a Buddha statue that was bronze and now it's like colored differently. It has beautiful temples. It has bamboo forests for you to check out. It has like a temple that you can visit, like built into like a hill, I guess, where you go like kind of like underground, and you're exposed to this cool new open area. It has a great shopping street. I forget the name of it as well. It's right by the ocean, and so there's like a beach you can visit as well. There's a little hiking because there's like some small mountains or like tall hills that go through the city itself. I love Kamakura. It's incredible. If I could live in Japan, I might want to live there because Tokyo is only an hour away, and you have the traditional culture and the nature right around you. So Kamakura, you can't miss it. I could probably go into even more detail on why I love it. It also has a cool little Enoden, it's called, which is like a little electric train. It goes up and down the coast, and it actually connects you to Enoshima, which Enoshima is an island connected to the mainland. You can like walk on this little like pier or strip taking you to Enoshima, and it's beautiful. It's like a little hilly still, but you get nice views. There's all these cool little shrines like tucked away into the hills and mountains. There's I think it's called the Candle, which is like a little observation tower viewpoint which you can go and visit. You can go to this little coastal area where you're walking on these little cliffs taking you into this little tunnel that I think they say goes all the way to Mount Fuji. I don't know if that's true but I visited it at night actually, and it felt so mystical. I could feel like, not the spirits, but felt spiritual, and it was just beautiful to walk around and explore. And it also has like a traditional little shopping street, blah, 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 blah. I love Enoshima and Kamakura. You must visit while being in Tokyo. Hakone is the next day trip. It's about an hour and a half away, and it's famous as being like a hot springs town. It's very mountainous here in Hakone, and it's great to stay the night maybe, or stay the night so you can stay at like a, ryokan with onsen. It's like a traditional Japanese hotel, and then you can bathe and get your kaiseki, your traditional Japanese set like meal experience. And then the actual town has cool stuff to do. There's a volcano which you can take a bus to, which is really nice as well. And then you can take a cable car down from the volcano, and then you can take like an old pirate ship across Lake Ashi, and you get views of Mount Fuji on a clear day, because Hakone is famous for its views of Mount Fuji. And on the lake too, there's a really famous Shinto shrine which has a torii gate right in the lake. Hakone is beautiful. I love it. It's very cool look into mountainous Japan. It's close by as well. And Mount Fuji is just famous, and you can get a view from Hakone as well. Many people will visit Mount Fuji, like the Lake Kawaguchiko area, which is like the lake surrounding Mount Fuji, as a day trip from Tokyo. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it'd feel too rushed. I feel like it's people that just want to like see Mount Fuji, go to a photo spot, and then come back. I'd recommend staying there as like a separate part of your trip. When I was saying you should stay in Tokyo for like 10 days, I would also include maybe go to Fuji for like 2 nights as part of that experience, honestly. I think it'd be really fun. Hopefully the weather is better than it was for me. So we only saw Fuji when we arrived, and the next day the weather was pretty crappy. But you can rent a bike and bike around the lake and go to these little like shops and restaurants and get views of, and go to like little shrines and stuff and temples and get great views of Mount Fuji. I do want to go back because I feel like my experience wasn't totally fulfilled. So I guess I wouldn't necessarily count that as a day trip. Same thing with Nikko. It's 2 hours from Tokyo. It's another mountainous area. It's like a national park with these very like ancient temples in the forest, and there's a massive waterfall that you can visit in a massive lake. It's more traditional, but more like that traditional Japan and blended in with the mountain sort of atmosphere, based on what I've seen. I've never been, but Nikko, it's higher on my list, but it felt like a bigger separate trip that I should include. So maybe I'll do that next time I go to Tokyo. But so I think the main two that you should definitely consider would be Kamakura, Enoshima, and Hakone. But those are the ones you should consider. And of course, Japan is incredible. Tokyo is the capital. It's a place I think everyone should visit in their life. It's very English friendly, like overall, the signage. Many people can understand English. There will be English menus. Infrastructure is built up well to help tourists as well. And it's incredible. You can do so many different things in like the modern culture, traditional culture, pop culture. It's a shopper's paradise. It's nightlife paradise. It's introvert paradise. It's got great nature with the parks, and the day trips I think can allow you to have a really comprehensive, full experience in Japan besides just the city as well. But man, Tokyo, like I said, it's a fact. It's the greatest city in the world. So thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wanderlust Woman podcast. I would love to talk more about Japan and my other favorite cities in the world too in future episodes. So thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.